Manufacturing services. That's a contradiction in terms. Or is it? Maybe it's a missed opportunity. Hello, I'm Adrian Botham of Service Part Consulting, and I'd like to welcome you to this video, which is video number 1 in a 3-part series, more of which I'll talk about later. In this first video, I'm going to be talking about manufacturing services, and no, that's not a contradiction in terms. In the next few minutes, I'll be explaining why services are more likely to be a missed opportunity for your manufacturing business. Before I get to that though, as I've more than likely not spoken to you before, you're probably wondering who I am and who Service Part Consulting are. So before I get into the main content, I'd like to take a minute to address those two areas very quickly if I may. Firstly, Service Part Consulting are independent specialists focused on aftermarket growth for manufacturers and distributors of engineered products. We work across a number of manufacturing sectors and therefore have a strong network of contacts and partners that we are always looking to develop and grow. All our consultants are experienced salespeople with practical industry knowledge of what works and what doesn't. As for me, people often tell me that I don't look old enough, but I've actually spent the past 3 decades helping manufacturers and distributors of one kind or another to improve their aftermarket business and help them grow faster. I've worked with large companies such as BAE Systems, Rolls-Royce and Jaguar Land Rover, as well as many smaller and medium-sized companies as well. I'm a pure maths graduate of Warwick University, a first-class MBA, and I'm a fellow of the CILT, member of SIPS and the Institute of Consulting. That's enough background. Let's talk about manufacturing. And let's think for a minute. What does a manufacturer actually do? What's the first thought that comes into your head? Yes, we know they make and sell products, of course, but is that all they do? For example, do they design products? Some do. Do they distribute products? Again, some do. What else might they do? Forgive me if you think this is all a bit noddy. The point I'm trying to make is that the most fundamental thing a manufacturer does is satisfy its customers. Designing, making and selling stuff might be the method of satisfying customers that manufacturers use, but there's no law that says you have to restrict your business to that. There are lots of other ways that the leading manufacturers use to satisfy their customers, and I want you to bear that in mind whilst I talk through the next few slides. In recent times, UK manufacturing has been experiencing an upturn, certainly in high-value manufacturing sectors as well as some others. Lots of new products, growing population of products, more usage of those products and lots of new technologies. We also hear a lot about some of the threats affecting UK manufacturers, such as commoditisation, cost down pressure, overseas labour costs, etc. And we hear about some of the weaknesses or challenges affecting UK manufacturers, such as poor leverage with larger customers, cost economics, production capacity, lack of confidence in major customers, etc. But we don't hear anywhere near as much about your strengths as a UK manufacturer. What is your strategy for dealing with all this stuff? In other words, how can a manufacturer create value for customers in ways that your competitors can't? So let's just remind ourselves how value is created. Are you old enough to remember the 1980s? No, I'm not going to talk about mullet haircuts or bad pop music. I'm actually talking about Michael Porter. Because it was Michael Porter in 1980 who said that there are only 2 fundamental strategic advantages that you can have. You either have to be the lowest cost provider or you need to differentiate your offering. There is a third way, especially for SMEs. If you operate in a very small niche market, for example, then it's possible to survive on the basis that there are few suppliers willing to compete in your niche due to it being a small market. And if you think you're in one of these niches today, then it's time to beware, because that can become a trap if your niche market grows and starts to attract larger competitors. And so when that happens, a business can very quickly find itself stuck in the middle. And according to Porter, that's the one place you absolutely do not want to be. By definition, in any given market there can only be one least cost provider, and that isn't necessarily sustainable in the long run. So not surprisingly, most businesses follow the differentiation strategy. So the challenge now becomes, how can you differentiate your business to create more value than your competitors can? As industries mature, the quest for differentiation moves through a number of key phases or waves. The initial wave is usually dominated by product differentiation. As rivals compete in a new marketplace, it's all about who offers the best product. And competition is primarily between alternative product technologies and product designs and configurations. Eventually, a dominant technology and design emerges, and that results in de facto standardization across the industry. As product offerings standardize, the differentiation challenge now becomes that of producing the product at acceptable cost and higher quality. Technological development therefore shifts from product innovation to process innovation. And we've seen this in recent years as manufacturing companies have invested a lot of time and effort in lean initiatives, for example. But eventually it again gets tougher to deliver sustainable competitive advantage based solely on the combination of product differentiation and lean low-cost operations. So as industries start to mature even further and process standardizes too, the quest for competitive differentiation moves on again. In recent years, strategic service innovation has come to the fore, and this is helping manufacturers forge closer connections with their customers. So customer service is now widely recognised as a primary source of revenue growth and profit growth for leading manufacturers. And what's more, it's nothing to do with the product stuff that we talked about our manufacturers doing earlier. It's all about services. To explore what these services might be for a manufacturer, let's examine a typical life cycle for a piece of equipment. At the beginning of the product service life cycle, a manufacturer is concerned with designing, making and selling products, as we said earlier. So services might include some kind of design service or customization. It's more common though that value-added services are provided at the point of sale, such as some kind of installation, training or initial spares packs, for example. After the sale, for most engineered equipment, there are opportunities to provide repair services, or better still, ongoing maintenance services. And there may even be opportunities to perform upgrades or software updates that provide new functionality in your products. There's also a third tranche of service opportunity at the end of a product's life, and that's with a given customer as the recycling of engineered products creates more revenue opportunities. So some people call this the circular economy, but I prefer to think of it as maximising customer value over the entire serviceable life of your products. And extracting the maximum share of this revenue for your company involves establishing an ongoing kind of relationship with your customers and taking a holistic view of service coupled to product performance. In the next video in this 3-part series, I'll be talking about how you could use after-sales services to quadruple your annual sales value without having to find any new customers. Yes, I know that sounds extraordinary, but if you join me next time, I can assure you that I'll be presenting the evidence to back up this remarkable assertion. And I'll also be explaining what the service transformation journey looks like in practice, so you know exactly what is involved. And I'll also be providing examples of well-known manufacturing service champions that are already doing this stuff right now, as well as some case histories to show you the kind of benefits that can be achieved. I hope you enjoyed this video. Keep a lookout for the next one. It's on its way to you very soon. In the meantime, feel free to leave me any questions, comments or feedback that you may have below the video. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you again next time.